Live. This is One for the Record. I'm Diana, and today is May 14th, 2013, and here are your news updates for today. I guess you can see the screen that I'm looking at now in these sunglasses. Alright, had to put the Varnays on today. Alright, a lot of news going on. Sorry about yesterday, but I'm not using my own computer, so I couldn't get to it last night. Sorry about that. Alright. Technical difficulties do come up once in a blue moon. Hopefully you got the comment on there. I want to thank Lori from Washington. Hopefully she put the comment on there. I haven't noticed yet. Alright. Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. Weird smelling mystery foam oozes through cracks in Chinese streets. UK residents baffled by sudden appearance of bubble storm, cloud formation. Deep 6.8 magnitude earthquake strikes northern Mariana Islands. Another Alaskan volcano threatens to blow satellite. Imagery shows Mount Pavlov volcano is very, very hot. Giant ice meteor slams to earth near kids playing in Tennessee. Ooh, heads up on that. Giant ice meteor slams to earth near kids playing in Tennessee. Let's pull that up. Wow, where was that? Let's see. That was today. Heads up. Breaking news. Wow. Isn't that hail? I guess it was an ice meteor. Appears to be a large chunk of ice that he says fell from the sky on Wednesday, May 8th and landed in a yard in Gray, Tennessee. Andy Miller says children were playing outside along Q View Drive off Hales Chapel Road around 4 p.m. Oh, check it. Oh, wow. It's bigger than like one of those, it's about bigger than a basketball. Wow, I wonder if that was blue ice or something that came off of something. Wow. Wouldn't be an ice meteor. That's probably some giant hail. Be careful out there. Be prepared for anything. Alright, moving on. Now let's go to the watchers watching the world. Tropical cyclone Masatan intensifies in Bay of Bengal. Third major X-class solar flare in 24 hours. X 3.2 on May 14th. There was a 2.86 at 16:05. A 1.7 also. Alright, see, hopefully you got that message. Wow. Alrighty then. So be prepared. It's probably coming in today or tomorrow. I heard it late last night. Alrighty then. Hopefully it was in my comments. Moving on. Let's check the breaking news real fast. Okay. I don't see anything. Here's one. U.S. Navy launches unmanned drone off aircraft carrier for first time. Alrighty then. And I guess everybody up north, they probably got hit with a little bit of snow and cold weather. Heads up on that. Alright. Moving on. E&E News, Energy News. Death blow, complete rejection of plan to restarting Allen, California nuclear reactor without public hearing. Plant courting as it sits idle. Nuclear waste wildcard at burning St. Louis area landfill. We're looking for trends in that radioactive data. Contamination migrating closer to area of fire. Uh-oh, heads up. Get out of that area. Also, Crack at U.S. nuclear plant caused radioactive leak. Workers searching for more breaches. Congressman very concerned. Reactor shut down until further notice. Also, yesterday, TV slowing sinking contributed to beaches and contaminated at giant sinkhole trying to keep oil from escaping. Concern over future risk in area. And CNBC, nuclear power has taken a beating engulfed by cauldron of events, staggering change from just a few years ago. Not many had forecasted all go wrong at once. Emergency declared due to fire at U.S. nuclear plant. Unusual event lasted over 90 minutes. Remember, after 90 minutes is a meltdown. Usually. That's what we learned in Fukushima. All right, Rolling Stone, mass release of floating radioactive particles in Metro St. Louis, possible from inferno at landfill. Fire smells like dead bodies, 8,700 tons of nuclear waste nearby. Alrighty then, let's move on. Fukushima, Japan. This is a long show tonight. Observed intentionally dumping Fukushima nuclear material in the ocean from land is not considered dumping allowed under international law. Kyoto, terror drill at Fukushima nuclear plant, fears about highly fragile cooling systems. Alrighty then. Not a lot of news coming out of Fukushima. It was like 3 days. That tells me something's up. They don't want to report on something. Alrighty then. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to attach something. I think I have something to attach. You take care. Always be prepared for anything. I got your backs. Also, oh, there's something else going on. I can't remember it right this second. It wasn't a very big incident, but other than the storms, there's something else. Feel free to put a comment if something's going on my channel. I could have sworn there was something else I thought about, but now it went totally out of my mind. I might have said it already in the report. Oh, no, here it is. In my, whoa, deja vu. Somewhere in Northern California, the land is sinking. Heads up. And I think it's not far from a new volcano or something. Or by the volcano fields. Just heads up in California. Somewhere land's starting to sink. Actually, there's sinkholes all over the place. Just heads up on everything. Make sure you're on stable ground. Alright, take care. And always be prepared for anything. Have your go bags ready.
And Kamchatka Peninsula, the Philippines, and that Far East area. We also are seeing some strange things in the sky. UV alerts this spring and summer have never been so high. You mentioned over the last week or so, UV alert for Phoenix, Arizona, UV alert for Mexico City, and then of course the latest is the the Plan B, which is the sounding rockets launched from Marshall Islands. Let's get into some of these things because there's some strange things the government or the quote above government is doing, and then and also NASA's Grover debuts on Greenland's ice sheet. What's going on there?
Well, okay. Boy, they're all related. Believe it or not, they're all related. The Greenland ice sheet, the sounding rockets at the magnetic equator of the Earth in the Marshall Islands, and the UV index alerts. By the way, the alert today is in the Pacific Northwest, and it's for the entire state of Washington and down into half of Oregon. And what that means, when it's an alert, it means that the UV index is above what would be considered normal for that area of the country.
Right.
Now,
so we're seeing UV levels that
City,
have never been. Yeah, we have been seeing levels higher than we've ever seen before. Please continue.
Well, yeah, they upgrade. They used to just, if it was, they had the scale that went up to 11 plus. So they had a scale that went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the next one was 11 plus. But now they are, now they're actually measuring them and giving us numbers like 16 for Mexico City. And that's during the hardest part of the day, of course. Now, 16, if you're out and you're unclothed, you're going to burn seriously. You've got to take cover.
It also means crop failure. Yeah. Yeah, 45 minutes, and I remember one of my old botanist teachers over 30 years ago, because I did marine bacteriology and back before I went into medicine 40 years ago. If you get a UV surge for as little as 45 minutes, you can ruin a crop. You can destroy a rainforest. You can damage the phytoplankton in the upper benthic layer of the ocean as the top 30 feet or, 10 meters. So obviously UV alerts are bad. Solar sunstorms, CMEs, that strobe the Earth are very bad. Ultraviolet light levels, and what they did was they put particles up in the upper atmosphere, hundreds of miles up, and they're looking for airflows. I reported before that the first level and the most dangerous level of the, quote, geoengineering of the planet, you can't see it. It's 73 to 80,000 feet, and it's primarily nanoparticles that don't generate a chemtrail. They're putting up nanoparticle thorium, aluminum, and barium, which is 10,000 times more toxic to the brain and the bone marrow than lead. But these nanoparticles are being put up there they're having some very bad effects on the oxygen level in the upper atmosphere. They're literally chewing up the ozone. What will that do, Ed? Because this is beyond stupid. This is like obscenely evil to be doing these kinds of experiments where they literally could punch a hole in the ozone layer and burn an entire state, for example, or a country.
Okay, what they're doing with these sounding rockets and what they did off of the Massachusetts coast a couple of years ago was they send these rockets up filled with, like you said, trimethyl aluminate, and what they use that for, that makes white tracer clouds. But how does it do it? It burns the oxygen. So they send these rockets above the stratosphere, which contains the ozone, and ozone is O3. That's oxygen, 3 oxygen atoms. And they release it in what's called the ionosphere, which ham radio operators know all about. And then as the particles fall, they fall through the stratosphere and through the ozone layer. Now, the ozone layer keeps us from being hit here on the Earth's surface with ultraviolet rays, especially band C, but all of them are caught by that layer, by the ozone layer. And what happened after they did their sounding rocket up off of Massachusetts was that an ozone hole opened up over Greenland. Now that ozone hole is a loss of oxygen in the stratosphere, specifically ozone. And when that happens, then we don't have that protection against the ultraviolet that comes from the sun when there's a flare. A big flare will send quite a bit of ozone. Now you have two things when you're measuring flare. One is intensity, and the scales are B, C, M, X, and X, the second X, and duration. So if it lasts 30 seconds, you might be able to survive that. But I've seen flares that continue to emit ultraviolet for over an hour. And what the scientists say is that the UV strobed Earth. Well, that means that the UV got through the ozone layer because there was a hole in it, and it actually impacted the surface of the Earth. Now, when this happened, after that ozone hole opened over Greenland, after they had done the sounding rocket experiment, was that the ice sheet, the entire ice sheet on Greenland melted. Now, it didn't melt down too far, but the top of it melted so that it was visible from their satellites, and they posted pictures of it. There was an anomalous day on Greenland when the ice sheet became invisible.
You can also crack it because ultraviolet light goes pretty deep, so it not only creates these lakes and ponds and settling areas, but it also can crack the ice sheet quite deep.
Yeah, so what they're doing now is they're sending this Grover, which is a ground rover. So it's kind of like the rovers that are on Mars, except that they're using it here on Earth, and they're using it in Greenland. They've started using it May 6th, and they'll work into June. And what they're doing is they're measuring the different layers of the ice towards the surface of Greenland, because they want to find out how stable the ice is on Greenland. I mean, this was an anomalous thing that happened when this UV melted the ice sheet, the top of the ice sheet on Greenland.
It shows you how fragile the Earth is when you mess with it. When we come back, we'll continue. Yeah, I hear the music too. We come back.
the water going.